Okay, let's dig into this. You might have seen the news buzzing around industrial hemp, officially legalized across the country.
Yeah, and it sounds like just, another policy change maybe.
Right. But it's so much more, isn't it?
Hmm.
This story has a really wild backstory, almost unbelievable, really.
Oh, absolutely. It's a plant that's, well, deeply woven into American history, but then it just vanished, practically erased for, what, nearly a century.
Exactly. So today, we're doing a deep dive. We're going to unpack the source material you sent over, look at that really controversial history.
The reasons why it might have been banned.
Yeah, the industrial stuff our source talks about, and then, what its comeback might actually mean.
Basically, we're trying to give you a shortcut through all the noise to get a real handle on this. It's complex stuff.
For sure. And it's not just about plants, is it? The source suggests it's about power, propaganda, industry.
Mm-hmm. Big forces at play. And to really get where we are now, you kind of have to look back because hemp wasn't always niche. It used to be huge in America.
Huge is putting it mildly. I mean, the source kicks off saying the U.S. Constitution, written on hemp paper.
Get this, yeah. And George Washington, other early farmers, they were growing hemp. It was just normal, everywhere.
So that's the big question, right? If it
Yeah.
was so common, so foundational, how did it end up outlawed?
Well, our source points a finger squarely at government-backed propaganda, specifically this film from 1936. You've probably heard of it. Reefer Madness.
Oh, yeah, reefer madness. You see clips online, and honestly, they look almost funny now, so over the top.
But back then, the source says this trailer was pushing some really scary ideas, linking cannabis, or marijuana as they called it, to, well, everything bad.
Like what, specifically?
Debauchery, violence, murder, suicide, even hopeless insanity, really painting a terrifying picture.
Wow. But this source argues against that, right? Based
Yeah.
on the actual plant back then.
Exactly. It highlights that the cannabis shown in those days, the stuff they were actually worried about, probably had really low THC, like maybe 3 to 7%.
Which is nothing compared to some strains today.
Right. Modern stuff can easily hit, 19% or higher. So the source is saying, look, the extreme stuff in the movie, it just wasn't chemically possible with what they had. It sort of debunks the whole premise.
And there's another layer here. The source brings up the name itself, marijuana.
Yeah, the source makes a point that marijuana isn't like the proper botanical name. It suggests maybe Mexican wild tobacco or that it's just slang. The real term is cannabis.
Okay, so why does that matter? Is it just being pedantic?
Well, the source thinks it could matter legally. It argues using the wrong name, like marijuana, in legal documents might even be grounds to challenge them. It views precision as pretty critical in law.
Hmm, interesting angle. And this leads into what the source claims is the real reason for the ban, not health scares.
Precisely. The source puts forward a really strong claim. It wasn't about public safety, it was about industry,
Hmm.
specifically one company, DuPont.
DuPont. Okay, that's a big accusation. What's the connection they're drawing?
The source argues DuPont wanted to clear the field for its new plastics. Nylon was just coming out, patents were being filed.
And hemp was a competitor.
A major competitor, potentially. So the source suggests DuPont saw an opportunity to eliminate hemp, possibly even funding things like reefer madness to create public fear.
Does the source have, like, concrete proof DuPont paid for the film? Or is it more connecting the dots?
It's more connecting the dots, the timing, the industrial climate, DuPont's vested interest in plastics taking off.
Mhm.
It presents it as a very strong likelihood based on the context of 1937.
Okay, so if that's the motive, the source must then explain why hemp was such a threat. How does it stack up against plastic, according to them?
Well, the source lists hemp's advantages pretty clearly. It's biodegradable, for one. It's cheap, grows abundantly.
And the burning thing.
Right. It doesn't release poisonous gases when it burns. Think about house fires. That's a huge difference.
Compared to plastic, which the source paints in a really negative light.
Very negative. Non-biodegradable, obviously. Heavily reliant on oil, drilling, fracking.
And the burning.
Produces toxic gases. Turns smoke black in fires. The source is blunt. It says plastic is destroying our planet.
And it goes further, right, saying hemp could replace plastic entirely.
Explicitly, it states every product made from plastic could be made from industrial hemp or its derivatives. That's a massive claim.
It also talks about the 75-year impact of plastic.
Yeah, and calls for DuPont and others to be held financially responsible for all the plastic pollution out there. Pretty strong words.
Okay, so we have the alleged motive, the comparison.
Mhm.
How did this ban actually get locked into law? What were the steps?
There were a couple of key moments. First, right after Reefer Madness came the Marijuana Tax Stamp Act of 1937. It didn't technically ban it, but the taxes were so high it basically made dealing in cannabis impossible financially.
Effectively a ban.
Pretty much. Then, much later, the Controlled Substances Act in 1970. That classified cannabis as Schedule I, same category as heroin. That slammed the door shut legally for decades.
Until relatively recently. Which brings us to the 2018 Farm Bill. A new era, as the source calls it.
A huge shift. Yeah. Signed by President Trump, championed by Mitch McConnell, the absolute core of it, industrial hemp is permanently off the Controlled Substances Act list.
And it's now classified as what?
An agricultural commodity, just like corn or soy, which means American farmers can legally grow it again, finally.
Now, the key legal difference here is between hemp and marijuana, right?
Yeah.
It hinges on that THC level.
Absolutely crucial. The law defines hemp as cannabis with no more than 0.3% THC, 0.3.
And why that specific number?
Because at that level, the source stresses it absolutely cannot get you high. No psychoactive effect. That's the line in the sand separating it legally from marijuana.
And this legalization, it covers more than just the plant itself.
Yes, that's important too. The law explicitly includes hemp extracts, cannabinoids, derivatives.
So things like CBD oil.
Exactly.
Yeah.
CBD oil derived from legal hemp is officially outside the Controlled Substances Act now.
Which means the DEA.
The DEA has no jurisdiction overseeing our state commerce of legal hemp products. That's massive. It gives banks, credit card processors, advertisers, the green light to work with the hemp industry. Takes away a lot of the fear.
And for the farmers themselves. Big benefits there, too.
Oh, yeah. Access to crop insurance, USDA programs, grants, certifications. The whole agricultural support system is now open to them.
Can states still restrict it?
They can impose their own rules, yes, but crucially, they can't block the transport of legal hemp or hemp products across state lines. That protects the national market.
Okay, let's talk about CBD oil specifically for a moment. The source sees it playing a particular role in public health, right?
It does. It frames CBD oil as a direct competitor to opioids.
That's a bold statement. And the source makes another pretty serious claim here involving pharmaceuticals.
It does. It alleges that big pharma companies pushing drugs like OxyContin, Percocet, Xanax actually paid Google to ban ads for CBD oil.
Why would they do that, according to the source?
Because CBD is competition. The source also makes the very stark claim that those prescription drugs, sadly, often lead people towards heroin addiction. Now, again, we have to stress, this is a claim reported in our source material. We're relaying their perspective, not validating it as fact ourselves.
Understood. Important distinction. What about the official stance on CBD safety?
Well, the source points out that both the World Health Organization and the FDA, after looking at the science, have said CBD oil is safe, non-toxic, non-addictive, basically no abuse potential.
But there's still some confusion.
Yeah, the source mentions these non-binding statements from the FDA. They're like official warnings or guidance, but not actual laws. And apparently those statements have made some officials nervous, leading them to question if retail CBD is truly legal, even with the Farm Bill, creates ambiguity.
So wrapping this all up, looking forward, what's the source's hope for the future of hemp?
A big hope is environmental, that legal hemp will help us, quote, wean ourselves off the plastic.
Makes sense, given the comparison earlier. What about other cannabis law?
The source sees the full legalization of marijuana, both recreational and medical, as the next logical step.
And economically.
Clearly sees it as a win. Good for farmers, good for the economy overall, allows for mass production of all these potential hemp products.
And it circles back to that accountability point at the end.
Yes, reiterates that strong opinion. DuPont and other plastic makers should be held financially responsible for all the plastic pollution on this planet.
Wow, quite a journey we've covered. From, a foundational American plant
Through decades of prohibition, driven, the source claims, by industry.
to this modern comeback with huge potential implications.
It really does make you pause and think, doesn't it? I mean, if historical narratives and powerful industries could shape our view of something like hemp so dramatically.
Royals?
Exactly. What other common knowledge out there might deserve a closer look, a real evidence-based deep dive like this? How does knowing this history change how you think about, say, current drug policy or even just the plastic bottle you're holding?
Definitely food for thought.